Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It's February 2nd, 2026, a Monday, and there's some Monday madness here. And, oh gosh, we're going to be holding their feet to the fire because they lied, they gaslight, they propagandize, and guess what?
You won't be trusted anymore.
All right, welcome to the Monday edition of the WTF Reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist, and yes, please visit our website, don't forget T-H-E, TheWTFReports.com. And I'm here with the audio receipts, as usual, and if those audio receipts make you exclaim, WTF, well then, so be it. Okay, where do we even start today? So much is going on. Of course, Friday, the quote-unquote Epstein files were leaked, and I'm sure there's so much more there. And I can't help but look at the timing of everything. I mean, look at all the different things that are all happening at the same time, okay? And they seem to be unrelated, but I promise you, they are related. Look, gold and silver. Look what's happened with the precious metals markets in this past month since the first of the year. Oh my gosh, silver it broke through the $80 barrier, then it broke through the $100 barrier, and it made it up as high as, I think it was like $119 an ounce. But the thing is that it's much higher overseas. And now the legs got knocked out of it, and silver has dropped down. It currently is at, $79? I think it is. Yeah, $79.31 I'm looking at here. And the same thing happened with gold. Gold broke through the $5,000 barrier. And anyway, and now it's dropped down again. It's currently at $4,666. Oh, that's interesting. Let me refresh that. I don't like that number. Let me refresh that. I don't want to look at that number. But, okay, so there's the issue on the precious metals market. And so we had the Epstein files released. We have silver and gold going crazy. And now there's this thing with these AI bots. I think it's called Clawbot or something like that. And people's personal artificial intelligence assistants have now created their own social media platform for bots only. And they're talking to one another, and some of the conversations are absolutely terrifying. So there's that, okay? And then back to this thing with the Epstein files. So much was in there. I mean, the Bill Gates, oh my gosh. Yeah, they planned, this goes back to pre-planning the COVID pandemic. And yes, it was a plandemic. I mean, when are people going to start being arrested? You know, and the big thing, like I said, is the pedophiles, whatever you want to call them. I mean, and I hate to say it, I've said it for a long time. There's no joy in I told you so for either party. So what was it, 10 years ago, and people were screaming about Pizzagate, and oh, that's all conspiracy theory, that's all crazy. Well, guess what? Now we know it is real. It is real. Oh, gosh, how did that work? Oh, man. So, yes, these Pizzagate conspiracy theories aren't theories at all, are they? No, they're not. This stuff is real. And now we're starting to say, wait a second, what's the most important issue that we have to face right now? And what's the source of this important issue? Well, more and more people are noticing, and that's a magic word these days. I'll get to that in a couple of seconds here, a couple of minutes. But this whole thing with the pedophile networks, they're all being exposed. And I promise you, and I've said this numerous times, we see corruption in big pharma. We see corruption in the military-industrial complex. We see corruption in the finances. We see corruption in big agri. We see corruption everywhere. And I contend that if we want to solve this corruption in all of these different avenues, we have to get rid of the pedophiles. And yes, the satanic cults that are performing rituals, and yes, it's real. And personally, in my own personal history, I learned about this, 25 years ago. More than that, 30. Yeah, back in the 90s. And again, a good friend of mine over the years was Ted Gunderson. Now, I didn't meet him until after he had retired from the FBI. And he was, for those of you who don't know who Ted Gunderson was, he was the FBI bureau chief for Houston, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. He had about 750 FBI agents under him. I mean, he was a big head honcho in the FBI. And then when he retired, he continued his investigation into the satanic cults that were popping up all over the country decades ago. I mean, this has been going on for thousands of years, but he was investigating this, and the proliferation of these satanic cults all over our country is just insane. And of course, this adds to the human trafficking, especially with children. And a lot of people, they hear this stuff and it turns their stomach and they don't want to hear about it. No. And back in the 90s, when I was married to Joyce, and Joyce and I were the American Gulf War Veterans Association, and we were traveling all over the country trying to help the veterans from the first Gulf War, and we had all kinds of documents and congressional records, Senate reports, after-action reports, and we were, freely distributing them, and we were also receiving documents. We would have some, veterans come up to us and hand us plain manila envelopes with some very damning documentation in them. One of those little envelopes happened to have some files that were sub-projects of MK Ultra. And the fact that, these milk carton kids that were being disappeared back in the 80s and 90s, remember the milk carton kids? Yeah, well, a lot of these kids were, shall we say, abducted or recruited, whatever word you want to use, and they were brought into these mind control projects, and they were turned into, there were three different categories. They were either turned into suicide bombers, or assassins, like Jason Bourne. You saw that movie, The Bourne Identity, you saw those. Well, that stuff is real. It's been going on for a long, long time. So these kids would either be turned into suicide bombers, assassins, but the bulk of them were being turned into sex slaves. And this is what Ted was, when I shared this document with him, this is what opened up the conversation. And like I said, over the years from 96 until, 2008, something like that. I mean, he and I were in regular contact. We kept running into each other at the speaking engagements. And that, and me, I wasn't prepared for this. I tumbled down the rabbit hole unknowingly back in the early 90s when I became a talk show host. I started learning a whole bunch of stuff. Being a musician for all my life, never having, served in military. I never went through boot camp. I wasn't prepared for the level of evil that I was being exposed to. But anyway, I digress. Point is, though, is that all the stuff that Ted was screaming about, well, it turns out it's all true. He was being, attacked and ridiculed, and oh yes, he's gone off the deep end. Ted Gunderson's gone off the deep end. No. He just picked up another rock and watched where the roaches scatter, and then you pick up another rock and watch where they go. And the same thing was happening with me. But this is one of the reasons why my head exploded. I could not believe the level of evil, absolute, pure, pharmaceutical grade evil that these people have been involved with. And the sad thing is that it's, this pedophile thing, this satanic cult thing, I contend that if we can get rid of that, and I don't know how we're going to do it, but if we can expose that and get the American people to get behind, all of these pedophiles need to be, shall we say, they need to face justice. They really do. There's no excuse for it. As a matter of fact, there's a woman, her name is Morgan, and she posted the following on social media, and I agree 100%. Here she is.
There's not a lot of things in this world that I would say that I hate, but I hate pedophiles. The fact that we are being governed and ruled over by sadistic elite pedophiles makes me sick to my stomach. And we have to pay taxes to these people while they torture and rape and do child sacrifices right in front of our faces. What are we going to do about this? Anything?
Good question. Anything? We're waiting.
Anything?
Anything at all? What can we do about it, huh?
We got to do something.
Yeah, we do. We have to do something. And I don't have the answer. But unfortunately, this whole blackmail operation, the Jeffrey Epstein issue, and of course, we now know the noticing continues. We know where the source of that is. So how do we deal with that? And this, what's the word I'm looking for? Philosophy or belief or what have you. This has permeated, like I said, every single institution in our country and indeed in the West. I mean, like I said, you want to talk about big pharma, big agra, military-industrial complex, it doesn't make any difference. I mean, there are those tentacles are in everything. So how do we clean this up? The people that we trusted most, this is why they get away with it, because a lot of people, they don't want to believe that their favorite politician or Hollywood actor or rock star or whatever, they don't want to believe that they could be involved in something like this. So they ignore it. But the more that we see now, especially with what was released last Friday, now a lot of people are saying, oh, my dear God in heaven. We tried to warn you all those years ago, but you didn't want to hear it and you didn't want to know. So, but anyway, like I said, this has been going on for a long, long time. And, and I can't help but think, she was just talking about, she hates pedophiles. Well, we have good reason to. But apparently Ted Cruz doesn't hate pedophiles. What did he say?
How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders?
That's good.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop rape?
Yeah.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
What? You remember when he said that? I mean, what is this a slip of the tongue? I mean, I don't understand that particular comment. So anyway, by the way, let me open up the phone lines here. 215-867-8255. Again, 215-867-8255. What are we going to do? How do we get rid of this? This is a cancer on humanity. And speaking of a cancer of humanity, the other cancer is our apathy, our complacency. Now, we've been witnessing a genocide for 2 years, over 2 years now. It's all starting to come to light. And the sad thing is that too many people around the world have just been turning a blind eye, and it's been right in our faces. And anyway, let me see. I'm just looking at a couple of clips here that I played some of these in the past, but they're definitely worth repeating. Let me see. Robert Kennedy. I played this, when I first pulled this up, I don't know, it was a couple months ago, and I played it last week. It bears repeating because in the Epstein files, there were some emails with Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein. And some of these conversations had to do with pre-planning the COVID pandemic. Yeah, it goes back to 2017. That's 2 years before Event 201. So yes, they were planning it. And here's that clip from RFK. This was recorded at a dinner. And he said the quiet part out loud. Listen to this.
COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
Interesting. Yeah. It said the quiet part out loud. Anyway, excuse me. This stuff is going on across the board. As a matter of fact, there was a woman. Well, let me see. What's her name? She calls herself Gold Eagle. She didn't want to use her real name for obvious reasons. But she's a whistleblower, and I'm just going to play the first minute or so of this video testimony that she gave. And just to give you an idea of how sick, how demented, how evil these monsters are. And these are the people who are running our institutions. How do we stop it?
I was subjected to satanic ritual abuse, child sex trafficking, and torture from my birth in 1964 to age 18 in 1982 when I left, moved to the United States, and changed my name. I was involved through my Italian family line. I was tortured in an underground facility in Rome that had tunnels connecting it to the subterranean levels of the Vatican. I witnessed child sacrifice there and was trafficked from there and within the European elite. The satanic rituals occurred in the Vatican as well as in elite mansions, in underground tunnels, and in private outdoor areas. What were the most common forms of abuse you were subjected to? The kinds of abuse I was subjected to include rape, gang rape, being forced to watch the torture and murder of animals and humans, ranging from babies to adults, electric shock, waterboarding, being buried alive with dead bodies, being put in coffins, being defecated and urinated on, watching people be disemboweled and having their entrails placed on me, various forms of mind control, horrific experiments on myself and witnessing them on others, being locked in a freezer, being kept in cages and isolation boxes for long periods of time, and watching satanic rituals below the Vatican, including the brutalization and sacrifice of babies and children, the ritualized drinking of their blood and organs, and the summoning of demonic entities via this ritual.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. That's only 2 minutes. It goes on for another 3 minutes. This poor woman has been subjected to all of what you just heard what she said. And you know, a few years ago, if somebody was to look at that, they'd say, oh, that's crazy. No, who would ever do that? Come on, that's just conspiracy theory. Well, we now know that it is not a theory. It never was. It's been going on for years. And by the way, I believe this woman's name, let me see, Maxine Lowen. I'm not quite sure. That might not be her real name. Because there are so many victims out there, and, they've been terrified to come forward. But there's some sickness going on. And Rick Wiles, he's been doing newscasting for years and years and years, and he made the following statement, quite some time ago. But of course, nobody wants to believe him. Oh, he's what, antiseptic, or he's a right-wing extremist, or he's this, or he's that, or he's whatever label you want to put on him, because he's telling the truth. And believe me, yours truly knows how that works. Okay, been there, done that, and I wore out an entire wardrobe of T-shirts for telling the truth. Anyway, here's what Rick Wiles had to say about it.
And our leaders are low-life scum that screw little girls so the Jews can screw America. That's what's happening in this country. I just said it. That's what's going on in this country. And our FBI is corrupt. The Supreme Court is corrupt. The Justice Department is corrupt. The news media is corrupt. The whole country is corrupt. Because we've walked away from Almighty God and we've allowed Kabbalah-practicing Jews to defile the nation. Put that video out. Go ahead and clip this video and send it out. I dare you. You won't do it because you're scared that the truth may get out to the American people. I'm had it up to here with the corruption in this country. Little children being raped for the benefit of Israel.
And he points out, of course, that other blue country over there. And I'm not going to get here and have everybody say, okay, you're antiseptic. You and I, your regular listeners know where I stand on this. It's not all of them, but it is the ones who are, shall we say, pulling the strings. They serve a different God. It's as simple as that. They really do. And you look no further than the Rothschilds, who established, through the Balfour Declaration, the establishment of a Zionist state. Okay, and again, if it's the Rothschilds, and we know this is a fact. This is not conspiracy theory. Yes, the Rothschild family has been into Satanism for a long time. They worship Lucifer, and they're open about it. Do a search. Oh gosh, what's her name? Not Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh gosh, Mariana Abramovic. Okay, she is a world-renowned, recognized satanic priestess, and she was posing with Jacob Rothschild in front of the portrait of Lucifer releasing his legions. So I mean, they're open about it. They pose in front of portraits, and they've got pictures, of them, doing satanic stuff. They worship Satan. They do. That's a fact. And that's not a good thing for Christians, is it? No, I don't think so. So, anyway, the phone line is open. 215-867-8255. How do we get by this? How do we solve this? I mean, because obviously this permeated virtually every single aspect in our society. It really has. Oh, gosh. Let me see. Kim Iverson was posting about... let me see. I forget what this was. Yeah,
it's been 1 week since Larry Ellison, ultra-Zionist, one of the largest donors to the IDF, has taken over TikTok. The U.S. government, under Joe Biden, signed a law that basically forced TikTok to carve out the U.S. audience and sell it so that the Chinese couldn't control it. The U.S. government said, well, that's a national security threat. Then Donald Trump came into office. He allowed the sale to happen to one of the biggest supporters of Israel, Larry Ellison, and U.S. users are reporting lots and lots of censorship. One thing that people noticed was that they couldn't even private message the word Epstein to people. If you private message Epstein, this is the message that popped up. Here's another one. This comment was removed. Somebody put a comment saying free Palestine. That was removed. Also, if you say free Luigi Mangione, that was also removed. Ben and Jerry's. This was like a video and this content was removed. So this is causing a mass exodus on TikTok. And the whole thing is so bizarre. We said, we're trying not to be China. We're trying to defeat China. We're nothing like China. China controls its population. China censors its population. And now the U.S. has a special version of TikTok that no one else in the world has. And us in the U.S. get this special censored version. And that's how we defeated China.
Yeah, we turned it over to some other entity that's involved in censorship. Of course, can't talk about that, right? Let me see. There was something else here. This is what I was talking about. Bill Gates and Epstein. Here's a very quick quote from Bill Gates.
Now here we are. We didn't simulate this. We didn't practice.
Okay, right there. He says, we didn't simulate this. We didn't practice. And that statement is in direct opposition of Event 201 that happened in October of 2019, only 2 months before the outbreak of COVID. All right, he says we didn't plan it, but guess what? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Event 201.
Half of our partners in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
So there it is. Half the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation paid for the Event 201. And then he comes out and says this.
Both the health policies and economic policies, we find ourselves in uncharted territory.
Uncharted territory. Bullcrap. It's all there. You did it. You did it, you scum-sucking piece of garbage. I got to take a break.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results Results vary.
And you can get more tank by visiting our website, TheWTFReports.com. Don't forget that word, the, T-H-E. People forget about that. TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page, and it'll take you down to a window where Get More Tank has all the information, the specifications, the details, etc., and you'll find out why this fuel catalyst works. Not a fuel additive. It's a catalyst. It makes your fuel burn more efficiently. Your engine gets cleaner. You get more power. And after a few tanks of gas, that's when you start to get some payback on it, because your mileage is going to increase anywhere between, say 15 to 20%, depending upon your make, model, and year of vehicle, and of course, your driving habits. So the point is that you're going to save money in the long run. So this is a no-brainer, folks. It really is. This stuff works. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, click on the sponsors page, and get more tank. You'll be glad that you did. All right, back into this this conversation, and again, I really do believe in the core of my being, if there's one issue that we could correct and get rid of, I think a lot of other things would fall into place. And of course, I'm talking about the sex trafficking, the child sex trafficking, the satanic rituals that, yes, are going on. It's not conspiracy theory, folks. The simple fact that people bury their head in the sand and ignore it basically guarantees and ensures that it will continue. As long as people say nothing and do nothing, it's just going to continue to grow. And like I said, 30 years ago, and I was talking to Ted about this, look what's happened. Now they're open about it. Anyway, there's a young woman who posted the following. Listen to this.
I have a question for all of you celebrities. The ones wearing your anti-ice pins as you sit in your $100 million mansion, surrounded by your wall and security gate, safe and sound. You who are advocating for the illegal immigrants who have committed horrific crimes against children to be set free and allowed to live here in America, to roam the streets freely, to live in our neighborhoods. The neighborhoods very far from where you live. What if the government came to you and said, let's make a deal? Since you're so kind and loving, since you have such a heart, and I see that you have all of this land here, let's make a deal. How about we tear down this wall surrounding your home, and we take down the security gate offering you protection, and we allow each one of these illegal immigrants that you are advocating for to come and live freely with you.
Yeah, right.
How does that sound? No?
Silence.
So you don't want them to live with you, but you don't have a problem with them living next to us peasants, interacting with our children, raping, ending the life of our daughters. It doesn't affect you. But hey, at least you said the right thing.
Yeah, right. Speaking of illegal immigration, this is going on all over the world. In Spain, as a matter of fact, over the weekend, they opened up the floodgates. And I think they said about 500,000 of North Africans have just flooded into Spain. Spaniards are beside themselves saying, what the hell's going on with this? This is insanity. So it's not just here in the United States that we have a problem with illegal immigrants coming across the border and then just disappearing into the population. So no, it's just happening across the board. And Kalergi plan? Is that what it is? Yeah, that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, it's, that's just conspiracy theory, Dave. Yeah, just conspiracy theory. Ooh, okay, let me see here. I have another, people are posting all kinds of stuff. They are noticing left and right about what's going on and who's behind it. That's the issue. And, of course, you don't ever want to look at that. It might make you think too much. Let's see what this young Leanne Starr has to say.
Some of you either have cognitive dissonance or you're just that stupid. And you don't leave the world.
All right, let's tell you what. Let's go to the phone. Oh, okay. That rang for a minute, and now it's gone. I don't know. Okay. Again, the number here, if you want to call in, 215-867-8255. Okay, let's pick up where you left off with this.
We live in. Until you accept that we are ruled by perverted, evil people, are we going to change? We're not. Ignorant is bliss shit isn't going to cut it anymore. A lot of us have known this for a long time. I've known this because I was in that realm of celebrities, parties. I know a lot of women in Hollywood that you have seen on magazines that are escorts. Some of them do it because they make more money. Some of them do it because they are forced to do so. You have seen these people. You think they're living the high life when behind closed doors.
Okay, I'm gonna pause that because I got a caller coming in here. Okay, hello. We'll see. I think I recognize that number. Is that Cynthia?
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
Good Monday morning to you. How are you doing?
Well, pretty good. Your discussion about aberrant sexual practices brings to mind something I had learned some years back. A professor at the local University of California, San Francisco Medical School, a book. His name is Paul David Blanc, B-L-A-N-C, and he wrote a book called Fake Silk regarding how a chemical used to make rayon converts to carbon disulfide, and the women workers, their sexual behavior was so severe that they wouldn't let them travel on public transport.
Really?
They'd arrange for because and it's also an issue related to a breakdown of a certain agricultural chemical, carbon disulfide.
Okay.
And it's occurred to me that some of these foreigners have been agricultural workers and may have gotten brain damage from the chemicals. And we don't like to think that there's something other than moral training or somebody who's just naturally mean. But the reality is that chemicals can change your brain and cause behaviors that ordinarily you wouldn't have. And of course, the other thing is head trauma can do that too. And I like to bring these up because our government many times looks the other way and protects corporations rather than protecting us. Pardon him?
I was going to say, the corporate mentality, it is required of corporations to make decisions based upon the benefit of their shareholders. So it's not about doing the right thing, it's doing the profitable thing. And if they know that they're going to make a penny profit from unaliving anybody that they deem necessary, that's what they have to do. They are legally obligated to do so. That's the corporate mentality. And there was a documentary about 20 years ago called The Corporation. And they did basically a psychological study on a corporate mindset. And they said if the corporations were actual living persons, they would be psychopathic. They would be absolutely insane. But so, yeah, they have to look out for their shareholders, and whatever they have to do to have a profit, they will do. And it doesn't make any difference about morals or scruples, anything like that. They have to make the profit.
Well, they were given corporate personhood through a sleight of hand with the Supreme Court. The famous case from here in California, the Santa Clara decision, and the judge who was the deciding vote on that was hospitalized at the time, and it is suspected that his clerk of the court may have applied his signature to the documents. And that has never been looked at closely or investigated. It really does need to be done because they're not a person and they shouldn't live forever. They typically, corporations were very suspected by the colonialists because they, were aware of the behavior of the corporations. And the states were supposed to have the right to control them. And typically they would let them live only a certain number of years, and then they had to expire and reapply. But then they somehow got all these special rights that we don't have. And they grew into monstrosities. And we need to look at that again. Because, modern forensics can decide if that is the signature of that judge, who apparently was really too ill to be making decisions. The book is called Gangs of America and was written by Ted Nace, N-A-C-E. He was a San Francisco resident, and I invited him to come give a brown bag speech at an organization I was at some years ago, and it surprised me that it wasn't very well attended. It gave me a heads up as to the organization not being everything it claimed to be. His book should be looked at, Gangs of America. That would make an excellent item for homeschoolers to read.
Okay.
To understand the history behind corporations and how they've become what they are now. Thank you for letting me call in.
No worries at all. Thank you for calling in. You bring up some good points as usual. And like you were saying, we've all been exposed to all kinds of chemicals and pollutants, et cetera. And this is what I've been screaming about for 30 years, is that this has a direct effect on the human genome. Back in 95, I remember doing a show about the food additives, bisphenol A, atrazine, and then there's the plastics that we, Tupperware, and the plastic tubs that we get when you buy yogurt or something like that, or cottage cheese, sour cream. All these plastic containers, people save them. I do. And when you store food in there, or if you microwave, that's the killer. It leaches what they call prions into the food. So when you combine atrazine, bisphenol A, and prions, and that was 30 years ago I was talking about that. God knows what other chemicals are in the foods, processed foods now, but they all affect the human genome. The hormonal balance is way out of whack. And I asked the question 30 years ago, if we don't get this crap out of our food, what's going to happen to our population? Well, here we are, 30 years down the road, and people can't figure out what a woman is. We got people who are identifying as possums out there. This is insanity. Go ahead. You had something else, Cynthia?
I was going to say, and you're wondering why your little boy thinks he's a little girl.
Yeah, or why he thinks he's a cat, a furry. I mean, come on. Seriously, I mean, what in California, how many different genders are they talking about now? 60, 70? I mean, you're in California, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So
now's a good time to bring up your point that the place to turn is not to pharmaceuticals.
No. Big Pharma, absolutely not. They created all these problems. So, yeah, we have to eat natural foods, but good luck trying to find stuff that hasn't been screwed with, I mean, everything. Oh, gosh.
I can tell you, unfortunately, the farmers market were taking home a lot of produce that they had grown on their farms.
Mm-hmm.
I was there Sunday, and they were packing up a lot of healthy food to take home. It hadn't been purchased. So locate your local farmers market and go buy produce there.
Absolutely. I would do business with the farmers markets long before I would go through the shopping go through the shopping aisles at the grocery store. Anyway, listen, I got a different caller coming in. I'm going to grab another call, Cynthia. Thank you for ringing in. Take care. Okay, we have another caller on the line. Thank you for your call, Cynthia. All right, who do we have on the line here?
Well, you don't have to hang up on somebody just because I'm on the line.
Well, no, she was on the line. She was able to throw in her 2 cents. Who do we have here?
Okay, well, as long as you were finished with her, this is Melissa from Maryland.
Oh, hey, Melissa, how are you?
No. I've been satisfied for all day because of what happened on Friday. I have been satisfied all day because, the Epstein document dump, 1:30:26, is something to be excited about. It's something to go have a cappuccino about.
Well,
It's enough of a reason to celebrate it. It's enough of a reason to just relax for a half an hour. I'm not going to go so far as to say you should have a good cigar over it. But
no, this is just
it's
tip of the iceberg.
It's good stuff, is what I will say. I mean, we can all agree that it's a good thing. Okay.
Well, they're finally getting some of this information out to the masses. Okay, now I was saying, I've been aware of this crap for decades.
Yeah, let's see what the New York Post has to say about it, because I'm not going to pay attention to what the New York Times says. I'm not going to pay attention to what CNN says. I'm not going to pay attention to what the Washington Post says. But anyway, I'll pay attention to what Epoch Times says, EPOCH. I'll pay attention to them. But anyway, what I wanted to just, for anybody who is on the fence about doing this, filing for candidacy, filing to become, to get into elected office. Congress is in elected office, the governor is elected, et cetera, et cetera. We all have different elected positions in our states. Each state does their elections a little bit differently. You have to pay attention to the schedule in your state for the elections, and if the candidate filing deadline is, let's just say, a few months away, if you have 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, however long it may be, you don't want to wait until the last day or the last 2 weeks to file, because what can happen, depending upon the office that you're considering, is there can be a lot of paperwork that goes along with filing for candidacy. And if you're not prepared to fill out the paperwork, or let's just say that there's a whopping filing fee that you're not expecting, you want to find out what's involved in filing for candidacy, I would say no later than a month ahead of time. And then you want to see if you can get it done, because there might be a lot of paperwork attached to it. There might be a filing fee, whatever it may be. So it's not something that you can decide to do the week of or the day of. If you're considering candidacy, you've got to find out what's involved. And then, if you don't get it done in time, that's what happens, for next time. But it's not a decision that you can make the week or the day of, because there might be too much involved.
Yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate you giving the heads up. And to be honest, I don't know anybody who really wants to run for public office. It's...
Well, we all have different, positions in our states that have, more or less authority and more or less responsibility. We have school board, we have, some of them are part-time, others are full-time, some of them are volunteer, so we all have different elected offices, and, we just need well-intended candidates, in municipalities also. We need well-intended candidates, and do whatever you're comfortable doing. And if you don't get elected, so what? You've got the candidate experience, and that there's something to say for that. And then some of these states require you to have a treasurer, and so maybe you have to go find a treasurer. And if you're not in a position to locate a treasurer in a week, then that's another thing. So just all of these, I don't know if you've ever taken a look at election law. You probably have. Election law is different in every state. You just can't count on nothing when it comes to election law. You cannot count on it making sense. You can't count on it having rhyme and reason to it. Good gosh, just all these irregularities when it comes to election law.
Well,
so, I'm just putting it out there. Go check it out right now and see what you're getting into.
Yeah, well, I've always said, if you're going to be climbing the ladder of success, whether it be in the public sector or the private sector, politics, business, what have you, when you're climbing that ladder of success, eventually you're going to come across a rung that will require you to compromise your principles and morals. And unless you're willing to do that, you will not progress any farther. And that's why they called Washington, D.C. the swamp, because the only way that you get in there is by allowing yourself to be corrupted. This is why, why the Epstein thing is so important, because so many, not just politicians, but business people, entertainers, musicians, actors, they're all up to their freaking eyeballs with blackmail, those three magic words. Yeah, you remember the three words?
Bribery, coercion, blackmail.
Yeah, there you go. Bribery, coercion, and blackmail. And that's what's running our country right now. So, if you're going to run for a public office, that's great. I tip my hat. But eventually, you're just not going to get anything done or be able to progress unless you're willing to compromise somewhere along the line. So that's why we are where we are, because the people. What is it that rises to the top? I'm not going to say that word, but you know what I mean. So.
Well, and let me just also throw in here for 30 seconds. This is not going to take too long of a comment, and this might be different in every state also.
Mm-hmm.
Because election law is not the same in every state. You look up probably you're going to stay what you are. If you're a Democrat, you're going to stay a Democrat. If you're a Republican, you're going to stay a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look up the definition of Democrat and Republican, there might not be a definition to it. It just might be Democrat and Democrat ballot, Republican and Republican ballot, because, some of these states have no definition to Democrat and Republican, and so if you want the definition of Democrat, it's the company you keep.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the definition of Republican, it's the company you keep. So in some states, there might not be more of a definition in that, so that's what you have to keep in mind too.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me say,
in my state, there is no definition to Democrat or Republican.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm looking for it right now, somewhere on my computer here. I've got the 1928 U.S. Army War Manual gives the definition of democracy and republic. And let me see if I can pull that out to you. Let me see.
Is that available on the internet on a website?
Let me see. Well, yeah, you can do a search on it.
Okay.
Let me
You're saying it's uncensored on the internet. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see if I can't find it here. No, I know it's in my computer someplace. I don't know how I got it filed here, but yes, the U.S. Army War Manual gave that definition, and when people read that, they understand that democracy is, this is not what this country was supposed to be. Our leaders are always saying this is a democracy. This is a democracy. No, it's not. It's a republic. Okay. All right, Melissa, I'm going to have to cut you loose. I got one more caller in the wings here. So you have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's see. All right, caller, you're the tail gunner here. Who do we have on the line here?
Hey, it's Mike.
Hey, Mike in Connecticut. How are you doing?
Good. It's on the website under document downloads. Go to WTF links and down to document downloads. There's a lot of stuff there.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Hopefully Melissa heard that. Okay, document download on the website.
Okay, but here's what I'm calling about. I went to a local breakfast place, I believe it was Thursday, and I sat at the counter, and there were people there, and there was only one seat in the middle of the breakfast counter available. I sat there, and I was talking to this lady next to me,
mm-hmm.
and she was freaking out because the guy always plays Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't bother me. And then she turned to me and she goes, "So, what do you think of ICE?" And I said, "I'm not going to get any politics. I just want to eat my breakfast." And then she lost it. She said, "You like ICE? You support ICE?" And I'm like, "I didn't say anything." And she goes, "No, I could tell by your reaction. You like ICE. You shouldn't even be here." And then the people to her right started listening, and the people to my left, there's probably 12 people at the counter, and all of them were anti-ICE people, and they started giving me a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, "How dare I? How could I support ICE? What a horrible thing. What's wrong with me? I must be psycho." Of course, I am in Connecticut, which is a Democratic enclave, but I didn't even try to challenge them or explain why. I did say that I believe ICE is following the law and doing their job, what they're supposed to do. And that they just made it even worse. And so then several of them said, you have to leave. I said, what? I just came in for breakfast. I said, I don't want to talk about this. And they're like, no, you got to leave. We can't have your kind in here.
Oh, are
so
you
then the
kidding
owner
me?
comes out and he said, wait. This guy comes in 2 or 3 times a week. He's never a problem. Leave him alone. This is my restaurant. And if you notice, I got Fox News on the TV. Anybody can be here with any opinion.
Wow.
And so he said, you stay. He goes, if they don't like you, they can leave.
Ooh.
Now, the good part was he comped my breakfast. But still, I went through this whole thing. I was shocked that I got attacked like that.
That's
so it
crazy.
all is real. It's all is true. And these people were not being paid. They really believe all the BS.
Wow. I mean, that's crazy. That's nuts. I remember there was an episode of Seinfeld many years ago where they were having a march for AIDS and everybody was wearing a ribbon. And Kramer says, I don't want to wear the ribbon. And they said, wait a second, you're not going to wear the ribbon? And they just start attacking him and everything like that. You have to be on board with what we all believe, you know? That sounds like exactly what you were just going through at that diner, that restaurant. Wow.
It was horrible. And you could just, when they started, the whole atmosphere of the restaurant changed.
Well, I guess.
Excuse me. You could just feel it. And it wasn't a good feeling.
It's, it's mob rule. And unfortunately, as they say, if you base your opinions on misinformation, disinformation, and lies, then that means that your opinion is an extension of the lie. And people have been lied to left and right, front, back, up, down. I mean, it's just so much subterfuge, propaganda, and falsehoods being put out there, and people believe it. A lie told often enough becomes the truth. And
I knew with the way they were that I could not explain anything. I could not defend myself. They were never going to listen, and they believed the lies.
Mm-hmm.
So I was stuck.
Wow.
They did back down and leave me alone. One person at the other end said, "You're okay. You're okay." That was unneeded. So, but that's where we are. You got to be really, really careful. And then the other one is, everybody knows by now that I do the website and I help Dave with some marketing. People, it costs money to be on the air. Buy a Wave Watch. Make a donation. Do something. We got hats. We got T-shirts. We've got all kinds of stuff. Hoodies. We got coffee. Go to the website and please make a purchase. It all goes to cover the cost of the show.
Well, I appreciate that, and I really suck at self-promotion, so I appreciate your coming out. And for the listeners out there, I've known Mike for, 35, 40 years now, something like that. Time's gone by. But, yeah.
At least.
Yeah. So, anyway, thank you for bringing that up. So, listeners, if you're out there, we could use your support. I'm just looking at the clock. Oh, my gosh, we're almost out of time. Holy crap. Look at that.
I've now had 2 videos go viral.
Whoa, okay. Hey, Mike, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Dave.
All righty, you take it easy. So, all right, definitely. Do some business with us. We could use it. Yeah, so our website is TheWTFReports.com. And, do some business with our advertisers. Like Mike was saying, we got T-shirts, baseball caps, coffee mugs, and some good sponsors as well. So Get More Tank, Wave Watch, Blackout Coffee. Yeah, anything you could do to help us out and pay the bills here. So anyway, that said, that's going to wrap it up for the Monday morning edition of the WTF Reports. I hope that you're enjoying the broadcast, and if you are, click like, share, subscribe, and word-of-mouth advertising is the best that you can have. So that said, I'm out of here. I'll be back again tomorrow with more of the news they hope and pray you never hear. So God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, and I'll see you tomorrow.